Hey, my people, it is the showstopper, Mr. Leopard, and I'm coming to you to conclude this matter on the issue of running mate. So, of course, I've already argued the William Ruto case. I've already talked about what is good for him, what is bad for him. I've talked about the Musalia factor. I've talked about the Mount Kenya factor. I've talked about the larger Rift Valley factor. I've talked about what William Ruto must not choose for a running mate pick. And I have spoken about the options that are available to him, which pick will add more votes to him, which pick would flatten his curve, like not take away, not add, and which pick is actually going to take away votes from him. And I've argued scientifically. This is professional advice that William Ruto needs to pay me for it. And I'm telling you the truth that you will not get this kind of advice from any other quarters. That is a promise for sure. Now, let me talk about Azimio. The Azimio choices are very easy. Number one, all you need to do is to get somebody else other than a William Ruto body. I mean, the character of William Ruto, which is aggressive, which is bold, which chooses that they will not just be seen, but they want to be heard. So anybody that looks like they can play that part would be good for a running mate. And there are two choices, and it is simple. Is Raila picking from Oka or is Raila picking from Jubilee? Before the arrival of Kalonzo Musyoka, the picks for Raila were two. It was Peter Kenneth, who is the cool gentleman who does not fight to be seen and is willing to work with Baba, ask for votes for Baba, has a track record of performance in his constituency before. So easily Selebo has run for presidency before. Peter Kenneth was the first choice. Now, when Raila picked Nderitu Mureithi, the governor of Laikipia, as his manager of the presidential campaign of Azimio, that made me say, wait a minute, that could actually be a good pick for a running mate. He's a guy who studied in finance and economics experience, from Canada, worked in South Africa, in Kenya, worked as a governor. He ran on Jubilee, was rigged out by William Ruto, but ran as an independent in 2017, won the seat. So this is a formidable force, a guy with acceptability, with a generally national appeal, though Peter Kenneth has a bigger national appeal than him. So Nderitu Mureithi would have been that other guy. But the arrival of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka changes this matrix. And now Raila has to make a choice and say he is going to give one the space of running mate and the other one a big cut cake within government. And so I think Kalonzo Musyoka will be more satisfied with being a running mate, but the people of Mount Kenya would actually, given a choice, they would prefer to go for a big cake in government as opposed to just running mate. So what that means is that Kalonzo Musyoka, who has already asked for that position, has served as a running mate before, has already asked to be given that space as a running mate. Oka has already asked for the position of running mate among other conditions. So Kalonzo Musyoka, it is Kalonzo Musyoka who is going to be your running mate. And Mount Kenya and Jubilee in general shall be rewarded with a big chunk of space in government, formally or informally. So let me talk what I mean by formally or informally. Informally means that it is a promise that is going to be given. When you are running a running mate, you are given that space before the election. So you are even registered as a running mate. When you are not a running mate, it is a promise on appointment on account of the coalition agreement that you have, deposit with the registrar. The Political Parties Amendment Act of 2021 was passed just the other day, securing all that. So there will be a pledge and a promise to give Mount Kenya more space in government, government appointments, government ministries and all that put together. And there is a spoiler, there is a sweetener. Let me call it a sweetener. There is a sweetener to this for Mount Kenya, that actually you may end up having to get a prime minister if and when, actually not if, BBI is going to be ruled to let reggae continue. So when BBI is passed in the next electoral cycle, electoral dispensation, Raila Odinga will play both as a substantive president who was elected before the referendum, and he will also play as a transition president, because then he will appoint the architecture of a new constitutional dispensation, the BBI, broadly amended constitution. And the prime minister, incidentally, according to BBI, is supposed to be an elected member of parliament, which initially I would have argued to say that Kalonzo Musyoka will be the running mate and Nderitu Mureithi will be then your next prime minister. But because Nderitu Mureithi is running to be governor, if he is not appointed to be the running mate, then technically it means that position will shift to somebody else, and it will be the guy who is running for Kikipipiri and that will be Amos Kimunya, who's the current majority leader, will be your next prime minister. So Jubilee will get a big cut of a cake within government. Would technically, thinking ahead of time, because that's what I do, Jubilee will produce the prime minister. Oka and Kalonzo by default will produce the running mate, and Baba will be the president. Now, what does that do? Number one, it maintains the Mount Kenya vote. If anything, any fallout within the Kenya Kwanza William Ruto combination will come to Azimio. But technically, it maintains the status quo. It solidifies the Mount Kenya votes and possibly increases it, not by a very huge margin, but it does. But second and most importantly is that it brings a new vote block to the equation, and the new vote block is the vote block that Kalonzo brings on the table, which would now make Ukambani completely Azimioed. Why? Because now we have Dr. Alfred Mutua, Kivutha Kibwana, Ngilu, and the Buffalo Soldier himself combing Ukambani towards one direction. Who can beat that? Who can bogo that? Who can think about anything outside of that combination? And that makes Eastern completely babad. I mean, that makes that a showstopper, don't you think so? It is the showstopper, Mr. Leopard. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mr. Leopard TV, and continue listening to these insights that are actually ahead of time. You don't get this kind of scientifically processed information anywhere else. Even the professors who are PhDs have failed me when I listen to them, whereby they make guesswork statements that do not tally any logic to any premise at all. But it is what it is. Keep listening, keep watching, subscribe to Mr. Leopard TV. I love you.